I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling on my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here as we get set for our 11th race of the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series. As we prepare for the track too tough to tame, this is Darlington Raceway. 111 laps await these drivers here this afternoon. This is one of the most technical tracks on the circuit, mostly because it's not a cookie-cutter type racetrack. Turns 1 and 2, wide, sweeping, high speed, but then a more acute angle, if you will, much narrower over in 3 and 4. This is a tire eater, this is a strategy type race, and of course the dreaded outside wall waiting to give you that coveted, or in a driver's case, uncoveted souvenir, the famed Darlington stripe. A lot of things looking interesting here, as this will be the final race of the first half of the regular season for the Duracell Ultra Lite Series drivers. We'll then head into the All-Star break, and they will prepare for the portion of the season we dub the chase towards the chase for the championship. Drivers trying to make some last-minute standings towards either locking or putting themselves in a good position to be in one of the 10 coveted playoff spots here in Season 2. Yesterday afternoon in pole day qualifying, we saw Aubrey Powell capture her second pole of the season. She joins now Dave Smith as the only repeat pole sitters on the season, and she is looking also for her second win on the season after winning earlier on this season at Pocono Raceway. So far this season, we have yet to have a driver pick up 2 victories. We have had 10 races and 10 different race winners. If we can get a driver to get that second win on the season, they could be looking at the favorite to lock themselves into a playoff position even this early on in the season. We've got a lot of actually former race winners up here towards the front, as Skylar Taylor, who opened up the season at Daytona with a checkered flag, is going to share the front row with Aubrey Powell. You've also got just a little ways behind them, starting off in the 5th position, the points leader, Cam Wright Jr., who ended up winning back at North Wilkesboro, starting quite a ways up here towards the front and rolling off from the 8th position back there, that Castrol GTX number 89. That's Jordan Anderson, who is the last driver to take a checkered flag here in the series, going back to I-69 Speedway. So a lot of drivers up here looking for that second win on the season. A lot of drivers up here looking for that first win on the season. And we talk about up here, this is a track as well where a lot of times starting track position is very, very important. But with the fact that we're running a longer race this season, is there the possibility for the undercut, for short pitting, any type of strategy on pit road to be able to work your way from middle of the field, back of the field, up to the front in the closing stages? We'll have to keep an eye on that as a number of big-name drivers are starting out back, including Roberto Crown Jr., who is second in points coming into this one. 16 points between himself and Cam Wright Jr. Obviously, the 95's got the advantage on the qualifying grid. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that during the course of the evening as well, but it's time to go down trackside, and it's time to get those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
Bottom right of your screen, you'll see the starting lineup for this evening's event. all but 3 drivers running for a playoff position, or a points-paying win, if you will. 3 Cup Series drivers in the field here tonight, including the debuting Eric Sadler in the number 16 out of Bishop Family Racing, Nick Gunther in the 55 out of Garage 55, and Daniel Voiles in that 23 car out of World NOS Racing. Of course, he'll be running that car for the remainder of the Lights season, but is not running for points. Fuel window will be interesting here this evening as well. We've been told a number of different scenarios, anywhere from 30 to 40 laps that they can make it on what they've got in the tank, but that accounts for them going out there and setting qualifying laps every single time, as the track is congested with side-by-side racing. As the tires fall off, the lap times will get slower, and that might allow them to save more fuel and extend that window, maybe upwards of 50 to 55 laps on a run. So we're looking at either a 1 or a 2-stop race here potentially. We'll see how it all plays out as we're ready to go. Green flag is out, and we're racing at Darlington. Skylar Taylor gave up that top spot, let Aubrey Powell go out ahead to be able to slot down into the 2nd position. Jackson Hayward will move to 3rd, Cam Wright Jr. into 4th, Colin Grace to 5th, and side by side for the 6th position. It's down into the heavy braking zone of turn 3, roll the throttle, play with the brake, back into the throttle off at turn 4. Aubrey Powell going to come around and lead the first lap of the evening. Cam Wright Jr. has made his way around Jackson Haywood for 3rd. Haywood now under fire from Colin Grace. Drivers and teams will obviously have their cars set up for either the short run or the long run. I feel like tonight and tomorrow night you're going to want to have it set up for the long run, because your car's handling is going to go away the longer the run goes on, and the track is abrasive on the tires as Darlington. Maybe Haywood just didn't get going there, didn't have the grip he wanted. Cam Wright Jr. was able to take advantage as that Cheetos Flamin' Hot Camaro now dogging 2nd place Skylar Taylor. Talked about it yesterday during the qualifying session. For those that don't remember, since we've had that long break, 7 drivers will make their way into the playoffs via top 7 in points, regardless of if they've gone to victory lane this season or not. And then 3 drivers will get in via what's called the wild card spots, which will prioritize drivers below 7th in the standings and inside the top 30 in points that have the most wins. It will then shift to the drivers that are highest in the point standings without a win if there are any available spots. Right now, your top 7 in points be Cam Wright Jr., Roberto Crown Jr., Kyle Langland, Jackson Haywood, David Dixon, Chris Dollerton, and Skylar Taylor. Jordan Anderson right now would be in the first wild card position with a win and 8th in the point standings. Dave Smith would have the 2nd wild card spot. He has a win and is 11th in points. And Aubrey Powell, our race leader, is 12th in overall points, of course, with her victory. So right now, Anderson, Smith, Powell, your wild card position drivers. Taylor's been able to shake off Cam Wright Jr., and he looks to be closing up a little bit here on Aubrey Powell. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, there's a pack of cars. Juan Garcia, Michael Turner, Jordan Anderson. Garcia, former pole sitter from Daytona. Michael Turner, former winner this season from Las Vegas. And of course, we documented Jordan Anderson's win at I-69 Speedway last time out. This is 6th, 7th, and 8th place battle. Then you go back to one of our Cup Series drivers making his debut here tonight in the Lite Series. That's Eric Sadler. We'll see him tomorrow afternoon in the Cup Series race as well. Rotating door here in the All-Star car out of Bishop Family Racing. We've seen Dylan Young. We've seen RJ Bishop. We've Seen Destin Bolin all take turns in this car. Eric Sadler, the 4th Cup Series driver out of Young Motorsports organization, getting his turn here tonight at Darlington and doing a good job right now, holding down the 9th position, and a hard-charging Brody Kupski in that 41 machine. David Dixon just behind as well in the DHL Chevrolet. Here's Kupski taking a look to the inside, heading down into turn 3. Out breaks the 16 of Eric Sadler, who goes way up there into that outer groove, which does not have a lot of grip. And David Dixon was able to take advantage as well, filled the hole to the inside, and will move up to 10th. Sadler, in the span of 2 corners, goes from 9th back to 11th. Let's move up towards the front as we've got a good battle going on here for second place. Cam Wright Jr. took the spot from Skylar Taylor. Taylor charges back to the inside of turn 3, and he'll take the position back once again. This is good news if you're Aubrey Powell, because them battling side by side is allowing you to be able to pull away, and that slower corner with Cam Wright Jr. over in 3 and 4 allows Colin Grace to close in for P3. Colin Grace up there in the conversation for a playoff position. 13th in overall standings coming into this one. Doing a little bit of quick math here, I believe Colin Grace is a total of 16 points outside of the top 7 in the standings. Driver out of Haas Racing. Two of the Haas cars have already gone to victory lane this year, Aubrey Powell and Cole Coybe. Colin Grace and Wes McCoy both had some solid qualifying efforts. However, the 8 of Wes McCoy is a lap down after an unscheduled pit stop. And I'm wondering if that 8 car might have gotten up and into the wall, might have pushed in the fender on that right side. That can happen here at a track like Darlington. Right now in the 30th position, -1. The struggling season continues for the 8 car, who comes into this one 24th in points, has only scored 1 top 10 and no top 5s in these first 10 races. Looks like a while before he would end up going another lap down to teammate Aubrey Powell, who currently enjoys over 3.5 seconds back to second place. And this is why, because second, third, and fourth are all bumper to bumper to bumper. And the more they race each other, the better it is for Aubrey Powell to be able to open up the gap. Because if you're side by side here at Darlington, you're not worrying about lap time. You can't worry about lap time. Not only does the side draft come into play, but neither driver is getting the optimal line they want to run through the corners. So they're having to breathe the throttle a lot more to avoid sliding up to the car above you if you're on the inside line, or sliding up into the wall if you're the outside line car. We documented that some drivers coming into this one that are up there in the point standings did not benefit with a good qualifying effort yesterday afternoon. A couple of those drivers included second in points Roberto Crown Jr. and third in points Kyle Langland. Let's see if they've made up any progress. There is Langland right now in the 28th position. Roberto Crown Jr. just ahead of him there in the 18 and 27th. So no progress has been made as of right now for either driver. Also just ahead of them, Chris Darlington, who worked his way up into the top 7 in points for a playoff position last time out at I-69 Speedway. He is 6th in the standings coming to this one. He's also mired back here in the 26th position. So if you're looking at a handful of drivers who might play the strategy of the undercut on pit road, these 3, I think, would certainly have to fall into that category, because they're obviously right now not making up any positions on the racetrack. So pit road and fresh Goodyear tires might be their best bet. Question would be, though, when do those pit stops take place? We'll be keeping an eye on pit road and taking a look on indicators, somewhere around the lap 30 mark. We're about maybe halfway through a run if the numbers we've been given are accurate, but not 100% certain on just how far these drivers can go. And I feel like the play mostly for drivers that aren't looking for the undercut is you're going to go as far as your fuel will allow you. While tires are definitely important at a track like Darlington, if you're looking to make the least amount of pit stops here tonight, you're going to try and struggle and tough it out as long as you can until you're almost out of fuel. Then you come to pit road, take on the fresh Goodyears. So that's why I kind of wonder if some drivers, as the pace backens down, might try and stretch it as far as lap 50 or so. Maybe try to stretch it as far as lap 55, lap 60, so that way they only have to come to pit road once. Other drivers, I feel, they'd be looking at a potential two-stop strategy, especially those that would be in the camp of looking for that undercut to gain track position. We mentioned about the fact that this is going to be the last race of the first half of the regular season for the Lite Series drivers. We'll see the Cup Series drivers here tomorrow afternoon in the third of their 4 Crown Jewel races. Lights are off next week when the Cup Series drivers will stand alone at the mile-and-a-half Chicagoland Speedway, and then we head into the All-Star race break for Cup Series drivers. And then the second half of the season gets kicked off with both Lights and Cup when they'll be at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Keeping an eye on this second place battle, Skylar Taylor still holding on to P2, but Cam Wright Jr. staying right there with him. What does it sound like? How much off the throttle, on the throttle time is there making your way around a track like Darlington? Let's go on board with the points leader. Lap times are definitely falling off. Couple observations there. You heard even through the center of 1 and 2. Cam Wright Jr. having to bail out of the throttle. That means that tire heat is built up in the right front. Car is getting really, really tight, and he's not able to point the nose, rotate it through the center onto the exit to the back straightaway. Normally, it's a wider sweeping corner, and you can almost take 1 and 2 full throttle, but not the case here on this run. Another thing I also noticed, if you heard going through turns 3 and 4, specifically the entrance to turn 3, you could hear a ka-chunk. That is the car bottoming out. These side skirts, those metal side skirts, that front splitter hitting the racing surface. Darlington is not a smooth racetrack. It is a very bumpy, it is a rough, it is an abrasive racetrack. So it is going to be tough on the equipment, on the underbody of the race car, and that is a big part in what unsettles the race car as well on the entry to these corners. It's what makes a track like Darlington so unique. Speaking of lap times, the fall off is now to 3 seconds. Even race leader Aubrey Powell running 2.9 seconds slower than her fastest lap of the race, which right now is the overall fastest lap of the race as well at a 36.218. That last time by ran in the low 39.1s. So even with the benefit of clean air, getting to choose the optimal racing line that she wants going into these corners, the tires wearing out have affected the lap time significantly. And I think that when you look at that comparison, that is about 3 seconds, maybe going to be about 3.5 to 4 seconds on the table that can be gained on the undercut for any driver that elects to short pit. Now, how much would that translate in terms to track position? Well, I'm looking towards the middle of the pack here. In 12th place, Kat Batson is 22 seconds behind the race leader. Sarah Fogelman back in 29th is 29 seconds back. That is only 7 seconds separating just outside the top 10 to the rear of the field. So mathematically, if you came to pit road from around the 25th position and you short pitted with the undercut, theoretically you'd be up inside the top 15 once the pit stop cycle is completed. That is a net gain of 10 positions. So keep an eye on that as this run continues. For Aubrey Powell, she has now been able to open up an 8.5 second gap back to second place. So if you're looking at a Skylar Taylor or Cam Wright Jr. to make a play for the race lead with the undercut, right now it would not be in the cards because they would have to make up another 4 seconds afterwards on the racetrack. Now, granted, Aubrey Powell could end up having an issue on pit road, could be boxed into her pit stall with traffic on pit lane. There's a lot of stuff that could come into play for them to be able to close the gap back up. But right now, Aubrey Powell is in a pretty safe position, dependent on how long she runs, to be able to cycle around still as the race leader, even if second place on back, drivers up inside the top 5 elect to undercut her strategy. Driver that has been on the move slowly has been Brody Kupski in the 41. He got around Eric Sadler, he got around Jordan Anderson, he got around Jackson Haywood. Kupski is right now up in the 8th position. As a matter of fact, I believe he's now in 7th, and he's looking for more to the inside of Michael Turner. If you're looking at one of the best cars on the long run, I think it would have to be this 41 car, as he will make the pass around Turner. Now he sets his sights on the 19 of Juan Garcia. That would be for 5th. It's very difficult to make passes here at Darlington on fresh tires, let alone on old worn-out tires, but Kupski is doing just that. Granted, it's taking place over 16 seconds behind the race leader, but if Kupski could find himself some clean racetrack once the pit stop cycle is complete, I would keep an eye out for this machine. Adrenaline Motorsports already has a victory this season with Dave Smith at Lucas Oil Raceway. We've seen their team owner, Jack Mitchell, run numerous races here in the Lite Series. Matter of fact, Jack Mitchell, a former Cup Series winner at this track. And you got to think that he gave some advice to his drivers here on how to approach this racetrack this evening. We'll see Mitchell in tomorrow afternoon's Cup Series race as he looks to become the first two-time winner at Darlington in the Cup Series. Number of former winners going to be participating in that event. Benny Watson qualified his way in the Go Home qualifying session. Dylan Young, a former winner as well. Juan Garcia pulling away a little bit there from Brody Kupski, and they are closing in on Colin Grace, who is coming to pit road. So from the 4th position, Colin Grace, just nearing lap 30, is coming into pit road. Somebody up ahead also pit. That was Skylar Taylor from the 2nd spot. So here's your undercuts. Some more drivers coming down pit road back there That's Eric Sadler in the 16. He might be testing the waters of strategy here in preparation for tomorrow's Cup Series race. Sean Galligan, top of your screen, also coming in the 62. Galligan was back in the 17th position before coming to pit road. So about 4 drivers going with the undercut. Now they want to make sure that this thing stays green. They cannot afford a yellow flag because with how slow pit road speed is, you are going to lose a lap here under green flag conditions. You want this cycle to completely... or you're going to want this pit stops to completely cycle through, I should say. See if anybody else is on pit road here this next time around. There's Taylor, there's Grace coming off pit road. Sadler Cam Ray Jr.'s in from 3rd place. Juan Garcia hit pit road. I believe I saw Brody Kupski there, David Dixon, Nick Gunther as well. Sarah Fogelman. And here comes Jordan Anderson. Anderson led a lap, so I believe Aubrey Powell is on pit road. Aubrey Powell's actually already made a pit stop, it would appear. Looks like she might have come down the same lap as Skylar Taylor, and we missed it. We didn't see her on pit lane. So she may have also done the undercut, preempting 2nd place. About the rest of the field coming in this time. Bunch of drivers towards the back half of the field coming in. Trying to see who the race leader is right now. I believe Jordan Anderson's still the race leader. Yep. Hasn't cycled around yet to, I believe it would be the 71. Trying to find the 71 car. There is Aubrey Powell. Right now in the 5th position. Going to bypass some more drivers on pit road here. Let's see if this time by at the stripe if Aubrey Powell is back to the race lead. So that's interesting. They must have been listening in on the radio communication of the 29. And the same lap that Skylar Taylor hit pit road, Aubrey Powell hit pit road as well. And Powell is indeed now back to the top of the board. Aubrey Powell has dominated this race, has led every lap but now 4. 3 other drivers will at least at this point in time get bonus points for a lap led. Jordan Anderson led the last 2. Skylar Taylor led 1. And Cam Wright Jr. led 1. So actually, I'm being told Aubrey Powell came to pit road the lap prior to Skylar Taylor. And so that means that Powell undercut the 29 by 1 lap. Now, while on the beginning side of this run, that's going to be huge in allowing Powell to increase the gap back to Taylor, that means that Taylor will have fresher tires for the longer run. Of course, Darlington is a track where usually the longer the run goes on, that tire advantage doesn't necessarily mean much. It usually means more towards the beginning of the run. As officially, that last time by, Aubrey Powell had 11.5 seconds up on Skylar Taylor. Colin Grace has cycled up to 3rd place now, so that undercut worked for him. And then Cam Wright Jr. and Juan Garcia are your top 5. Brody Kupski, Jordan Anderson, Eric Sadler, Michael Turner, David Dixon, your current top 10. Now we've got only 16 drivers on the lead lap as well. You saw back there Sarah Fogelman behind the 71. She is the first car 1 lap down in the 17th position. So a lot of drivers are currently off the lead lap. Number of drivers actually might have had some pit road issues because I'm showing 4 drivers 3 laps down. Cody Majoric, Chris Darlington, former winner this season Craig Batson, and Sean Galligan. Matter of fact, they might still be on pit road. Yeah, there they are. Darlington, Majoric, Craig Batson. Sean Galligan's back out on the racetrack now. Just returned to the track, so we had some pit road issues. First time that Aubrey Powell's going to have to deal with traffic. You saw Sarah Fogelman go around and get her lap back. Skylar Taylor is also dealing with lap traffic. Nathan Stapleton in the 25th position, just ahead of him. So we'll see how Aubrey Powell does in traffic. But the bad news, whoops, hit the wrong key there. The bad news continues for Brody Kupski, or sorry, for Roberta Crown Jr. and Kyle Langland. Now both of them are -1 to the race leader. Roberta Crown Jr. right now being scored in 24th. Kyle Langland just a few cars up ahead in 22nd. So Cam Wright Jr., who right now cycles to the 4th position, looking in pretty good shape to carry a pretty sizable points gap into the second half of the regular season. There is Langland right behind his teammate Daniel Voiles. Ooh, Dave Smith up and into the wall. In that 15 car. That was a pretty good shot off of turn 2. Looks like he's going to continue though, at least for the time being. Aubrey Powell now going to have her teammate Cole Koibe looking to the inside. Koibe trying to get back on the lead lap. Nathan Fogler looking to do the same. And they'll complete the pass around the 71. Aubrey Powell looks like she just let them on by. There's no sense of battling with these cars. They're looking to get back in the tail end of the lead lap. She's just looking to maintain a gap back to Skylar Taylor, which actually has been eaten into. The last time we checked, it was 11.5 seconds. That last time by, 8 seconds, the gap. So this traffic might be affecting Aubrey Powell, who, remember, spent the first 20-some-odd laps, 25, 26 laps, out in front with clean air, no traffic. So they might not have made any adjustments on that race car, and now in aero traffic might be dealing with a tightness sensation that she hasn't dealt with. Oh, somebody got the wall just there off of turn 2. You can see a little bit of debris lingering on the racing surface. As here comes a contingency to the inside of the 71. That's Daniel Voiles. Here comes Kyle Langland. Gap is closing. Continuing to close. Skylar Taylor has gotten around Nathan Stapleton, and he's almost on the same straightaway as Aubrey Powell. If this group of race cars, this group of 4 behind Aubrey Powell, kick her to the outside line, Skylar Taylor is going to close in very, very quickly. Also, point of note of when these drivers came to pit road, it was around between laps 28 to 30. So that says to me that, oh wow, look at that. Kyle Langland into the back of Aubrey Powell trying to bump and run his way back onto the lead lap. But that says to me that we're going to see these drivers on pit road 2 more times before the conclusion of this race. Next time, probably somewhere in the next 20 laps or so, around lap 60, and then again, probably around lap 90. Langland will get around the 71, get his lap back. Dave Smith looking to do the same. Mike Tellier right there. Roberto Crown Jr. As Powell continuing to have to run the outside of the racetrack. With drivers to her inside. Gap that last high by now. 7 seconds back to Skylar Taylor. See if it gets cut down this time by. Trying to look back, see if Skylar Taylor has gained any ground visually, and I didn't see him coming off of turn 4 there as the leader was on the front straightaway. Taylor is kind of by himself, although he does have Wes McCoy closing up here. McCoy is on fresher tires. Remember, he had the unscheduled pit stop earlier on in this race, so he is off sequence from everybody else. Those cars we saw that were on pit road after the incidents that occurred during the green flag pit stops, they have all returned to the racetrack. Majoric's back out there, Darlington, Craig Batson as well, but they are all 4 laps down. We've got 21 drivers now on the lead lap as Skylar Taylor's going to lose some ground. McCoy and Stapleton going to get around him. So Aubrey Powell, who now has only a little over 6 seconds back to Skylar Taylor, that should increase at least on this lap. Could change if Mike Tellier in the 17 gets to the inside of the 71 though. great runs for a couple of the drivers out of Haas Racing, though, as currently 2 of their drivers on the podium. Colin Grace right now holding down the 3rd position. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Contact between Colin Grace and Sean Galligan. As Galligan was trying to get by, Grace up and into the fence, and you could definitely see left side damage on the Exalta Toyota. You'd have to assume there's also right side damage, and that could affect Colin Grace for the remainder of this run. Just got squeezed up into the fence there. Can't get a good look at the right side of the car, but we can definitely see damage on the left side. And not only is it going to hurt that race car for the remainder of this run, but then, oh yep, there's definitely right side damage as well. But it's also going to mean that they may have to spend a little extra time on pit road on the next pit stop. So Colin Grace, who through the undercut had been able to gain some good track position, may have just lost it all right there, and this is when frustration can start to boil over. If I'm Sean Galligan, I'm trying to get away from that 27 as quickly as possible, because I'm pretty sure Colin Grace did not appreciate that. Cam Ray Jr. is going to try and close up now for 4th place. He just got bypassed by the lap machine of Cody Majoric. Meanwhile, the gap has been cut down to less than 6 seconds. Skylar Taylor trying to close in. Remember, we mentioned at the beginning of the race, drivers are looking to be the first repeat winner on the season. The odds of you making it into the playoffs if you have multiple wins are greater than just having 1 win, because if you fall out of the top 7, the more wins you have puts you in line for a higher seeded wildcard position. That is, of course, granted that you stay in the top 30 in the overall points. And both Aubrey Powell and Skylar Taylor, your top 2, have formally gone to victory lane. So they would be in the running to be the first repeat winner here of Season 2. Of course, Skylar Taylor ran last season only a partial schedule after entering the season late, went to victory lane twice, and there was the big question, if he had run the full season, would he have been in that championship conversation? You would certainly have to think there would have been a case for that. Gets signed full-time here to ST Racing here in Season 2, goes out to Daytona, first race of the season, and wins the thing. He, for the most part of the season, has been in the conversation for the regular season championship as well, though a couple of bumps in the road, including last time out at I-69 Speedway, dropped him 4 spots in standings from 3rd down to 7th, but definitely looking like he's regrouping here tonight at Darlington. And if you're keeping track on the top of your screen, the ticker scrolling there, that gap is continuing to decrease. Now 2.5 seconds, and you saw right there on the bottom left, as they were making their way down the front straightaway, Skylar Taylor is closing in on Aubrey Powell for the top position. So Taylor clearly has the better long-run car right now. And there you see, there's the green 71. 1 car in between him and Skylar Taylor for the top position. Aubrey Powell has led 44 laps so far tonight, a race high at this point in time, but Taylor is coming. And Powell's lap times do not look good either. Aubrey Powell is running lap times slower than what she ran near the end of the last run when she was running all by herself. She was running 39 ones, 39 twos. That last time by, she ran a 40.9. And appears to not be able to hold the bottom. Oh, wow, up and into the wall. Aubrey Powell is in big trouble, as there's the exchange for the lead. Aubrey Powell, clean air and everything, just pushed up the track into the outside wall, and Skylar Taylor will move on by and take the top position. Taylor had already led a lap during the cycle green flag pit stops. This will be his 2nd lap led of the evening, and now he's going to look to pull away from Aubrey Powell. just before we get to our second cycle green flag pit stops, which we're only probably about 10 laps away from. So all of a sudden, Haas Racing, they were looking strong and things are going bad to worse for them. Powell with a very ill-handling race car losing the race lead. Colin Grace is still holding on to third place despite the damage on both sides of that Toyota Supra. And it doesn't really look like Cam Ray Jr.'s been able to close up. As a matter of fact, Cam Ray Jr.'s been shuffled quite a ways back. Where in the world did 95 go? He's all the way back now to 8th. Cat Batson, Jackson Haywood, Juan Garcia, and Jordan Anderson have all made their way around, and whoa, my goodness. Juan Garcia throwing it in there on that top side, trying to get to the outside of Jordan Anderson. He'll pay the price for that. Here comes the lap car of Daniel Voiles to his inside. By now, Jordan Anderson is the driver on the move. And remember, we saw Brody Kupski be one of the better cars on the long run in terms of passing. That seems to not be the case here on this run. Kupski is just mired back there in the 9th position. He's trying to make his way around Cam Wright Jr., just ahead of Michael Turner. That's 8th, 9th, and 10th right there. How about a few drivers we haven't highlighted here tonight? Autumn Brooks having a solid evening, holding down the 11th position, trying to break up into the top 10. We're going to see Autumn in the Cup Series race tomorrow afternoon as well, pulling double duty here at the track Too Tough to Tame. Autumn coming into this one 17th in points. This could be a huge points night for her. Her teammate out of Garage 55 not too far back as well, Nick Gunther. Right now the highest running of the Cup Series drivers in the field. Eli Bright not that far, I'm sorry, correction, make that Eric Sadler not that far back from Gunther in 15th last time by. But Nick, another driver, trying to get some extra track time, extra experience here in preparation for the Cup Series race, and David Dixon just ahead of him. Had a very quiet night for the DHL Chevrolet out of Southern Cross Racing, but holding down the 12th position, and we've seen some drivers like Roberto Crown Jr., Kyle Langland, Chris Dollerton, who are around him in the point standings, struggle here tonight. So David Dixon will more than likely find himself gaining a couple of positions in the standings if he can hold on to a spot up here inside the top 15. Who knows? He might be up inside the top 10 by the conclusion of this one. Eli Bright right now holding down the 14th position with some lap machines behind him. Eli moving down the point standings last couple of weeks. Now 10th in points coming into this one. Remember, Eli Bright had that great run going at Sonoma. Looked like he was going to maybe be the car to beat, and ended up losing that race. Going to bounce back, trying to get back on the momentum train here. And while 14th may not seem like all that much when you consider it's 14th out of a 30-car field, you're in the top half of the running order. This is a pretty decent points night right now for the Sunny D Toyota. Michael Turner made a pass on Brody Kupski. Colin Grace has been freight trained by Jordan Anderson, Jackson Haywood, and Cat Batson. How about the KB Racing Enterprises cars tonight? Craig Batson has had some issues this evening, currently 4 laps down, but the 93 and the 39 nose to tail now in the 4th and 5th positions. Great run for both of them. Jackson Haywood up in the top 5 in overall points. And looking very strong here this evening. Cat Batson on the flip side, trying to get her season going, as she's 22nd in points. And here we go, the Haas cars on pit road. Aubrey Powell, Colin Grace. This is nearing lap 60. This is scheduled green flag pit stops for these drivers. Powell going for the undercut on Skylar Taylor, who had built up about 6.5 seconds between himself and Powell before Powell hit pit road. This is probably the pit stop Colin Grace was not looking forward to, because they may spend a little extra time on pit lane repairing that damage. And you've got to think there's adjustments in the future of the 71 car. I bet they probably made no adjustments to that car before on the previous pit stop, and once Powell got in traffic, Car did not handle the same. Waiting on the Costco Mazda of Skylar Taylor from the race lead. How long does he wait before he comes to pit road? See if anybody else further back here. Cat Batson now going to move into second place, getting around Jordan Anderson. Jackson Haywood right there. Doesn't look like anybody else on pit lane. Oh, here we go. Here's a few. Both the Southern Cross cars on pit road, the 45 and the 95. Cam Wright Jr., David Dixon, Brody Kupski in as well. So 3 drivers, make it 4, with Sarah Fogelman also on the pit lane. And here comes the race leader, Skylar Taylor, in. That'll turn the race lead over to Cat Batson. Jordan Anderson is in as well. I believe I may have seen Juan Garcia in the 19 also on the pit lane. So both the KB Racing Enterprises cars going to stay out at least an extra lap. Cat Batson getting the bonus point for the lap led. How far does she elect to go before she hits pit lane? Looks like she's going to go at least another lap here. Her teammates coming in, though. Autumn Brooks also coming in from 4th. Michael Turner will stay out an extra lap. He'll move from 3rd to 2nd. Eric Sadler, Nick Gunther, and others on pit road. There's Jordan Anderson just now leaving. Skylar Taylor as well. We'll see if he cycles out to the race lead once this pit stops are complete. And Cat Bats is coming in this time. Let's see if our Las Vegas winner Michael Turner is diving in as well, or will he stay out, look for a bonus point lap led? Nope, he's in also. I believe the only other driver we're waiting on would be Eli Bright, and there he is, also making the dive onto pit lane. Roberto Crown Jr. may have also stayed out an extra lap. Yes, he did, and he's coming in this time. So a couple of the Trackhouse cars, the 20 and the 18, also extended this run a little bit further, and that should cycle the race lead back potentially to the 29 car. Question is, who's going to be second, who's going to be third on back through the remainder of the top 10? How much shuffling will there be? Now we're waiting for scoring to update. It's got a couple of cars ahead of Skylar Taylor that we know were on pit road. Yep, Taylor now jumps up to 3rd. Probably Turner and Batson are the only 2 scored ahead of him, and he should be bypassing them here this lap to get back the race lead. He is going to be in traffic, though. The Delta did not work out for him in having clean racetrack. Nathan Stapleton just ahead, Sarah Fogelman just behind. And I believe she is right now going to be the first car 1 lap down once the pit stop cycle is complete. So she'll be looking to get back on the lead lap, which she looks to do so right here, down into turn 1. If I'm Skylar Taylor, I'm giving up this spot very quickly, sliding in line, which is exactly what he's going to do. So Taylor will cycle back to the lead. There's Wes McCoy coming up pit road. Aubrey Powell will still remain in 2nd. Long ways back to Jackson Haywood in the 3rd position. Juan Garcia 4th. And then look at this cluster of cars here. David Dixon just moved into the 5th position. 6th is under contest with Cat Batson, Jordan Anderson, Autumn Brooks, Cam Wright Jr., and Brody Kupski all held up behind the lap machine of Chris Dollerton. This would be, I believe, 5th through, I want to say about 9th or 10th. Nick Gunther about to enter into this group as well in the 55. Dollerton running the middle line, so neither inside or outside really able to get around him. As now Cat Batson on the back bumper of David Dixon. Had to be for 5th. Juan Garcia's been able to pull away from this battle. Firm control of 4th place as Mike Tellier on pit road, Cody Majorek, Michael Turner extended stay on pit road for the 0-2 So a pit road issue for the driver out of Michael Norman Motorsports is going to cost him a shot at a top 5. He was up, I believe, inside of the top 10 around 7th or 8th when the pit stop cycle began. Tough break there for the driver of the 02 car. As we'll be keeping an eye on lap times here in the interval between Skylar Taylor, Aubrey Powell. Last time by a little less than 3.5 seconds, and a lot of traffic right now for the 29 car to have to deal with. So that could be the opportunity for Powell to get the race lead back, as no traffic ahead right now for the former race leader. Jackson Haywood with pretty clean racetrack as well. Could he close up on the top 2? Same for Juan Garcia. Kat Batson's moved into 5th. Autumn Brooks got clear of that cluster. She got around David Dixon as well to move into 6th. Dixon back to 7th. Jordan Anderson's now 8th. Cam Wright Jr. 9th. And Nick Gunther has moved into the 10th position. The biggest loser in that big cluster of race cars was the 41 of Brody Kupski, who is now back to the, well, I believe 12th position. Yeah, Colin Grace just took 11th place away. So they have repaired the 27. You can see both the left and the right sides a bit buffed out now. Ended up ultimately costing Colin Grace 8 spots on the racetrack. Fell from 3rd back to now 11th in a battle back there, as well as Brody Kupski, and I saw Eric Sadler trying to make some moves. Chris Dallerton on the pit lane. And let's stay up here in this group because our top 2 are in it. 29 of Skylar Taylor, the bright green 71 of Aubrey Powell making her way to the inside of Sarah Fogelman. Now just one car in between the top 2. And a lot of traffic in front of Skylar Taylor. Keep an eye further back there. Jackson Haywood in the 93 is closing in. We could have a 3-car battle for the top position here in mere moments. As Taylor gets the inside of Voiles, but Powell will do exactly the same. Aubrey Powell hunting the race lead back. Skylar Taylor got the lead away from Aubrey Powell on the green flag cycle between the 1st and 2nd pit stops. Powell looking to get the top position back once again. Powell's led 45 laps. Skylar Taylor has led now 18. It's really been between those two so far. A couple of other drivers been able to get a little sniff of the race lead, get some bonus points as Powell to the inside of Taylor. Taylor trying to hold the throttle off of 2, and he will do so. Powell got tight on the inside line, and Taylor will hang on to the top position. Kat Batson's led 2 laps. Jordan Anderson's led 2 laps, and then 1 lap for Cam Wright Jr. and 1 lap for Michael Turner. That's it. That's all the drivers that have led so far tonight. 6 drivers in total. Jackson Haywood's trapped back here, along with Juan Garcia. Their clean racetrack is gone. They were closing up on the top 2, but now the top 2 have been able to pull away. Haywood's going to clear Daniel Voiles. Now he should have some clean racetrack here to work with. Juan Garcia still back there trying to get out of that mess. And Kat Batson is closing in. That'll be an ongoing battle for 4th place. Meanwhile, things have settled out. Taylor ahead of Michael Turner, and Aubrey Powell kind of by herself. As caution is out. Yellow flag for the first time tonight. Took us 72 laps for the first caution of the evening. But this will stack it all back up, and there's a bunch of drivers back inside the top 15 to top 20 that are just absolutely beside themselves with happiness, because this brings them up back into the lead conversation. We had 20 drivers on the lead lap at the time of the yellow. Pit road is open. Here comes Skylar Taylor to pit road. Timing of this yellow is super interesting as well, because if about 30 laps is the distance they can go, they're still going to be about 5 to 10 laps short. And I almost wonder if you're any of those drivers that are a lap down, do you stay out, take the wave around? Dave Smith, Sarah Fogelman, Daniel Voiles? Maybe hope for another yellow? I mean, if everybody's going to have to come to pit road at least one more time before the conclusion, I would take the wave around. Yeah, you're going to be at a huge advantage tire-wise, but you could get lucky as well. It's the only shot I think you have of being on the lead lap. We'll go back and see what brought out this yellow flag here in just a moment. We'll follow this battle on pit road as well. There's Taylor in, Aubrey Powell with the number 1 pit stall, Jackson Haywood just behind, so the top 3 all there with each other. Taylor should have the advantage, one would think. He had about 2 car length, 3 car length gap coming on to pit road over Aubrey Powell. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh, Kat Batson made a bid for it, but I don't think she quite got it at the line. Great pit stop for the 39 team, though. We'll see if indeed she won the battle off pit road or if Skylar Taylor just edged her out. But that was a huge pit stop there for the team out of KB Racing Enterprises. Let's take a look now back at what brought out this yellow, because I didn't see any skid marks, didn't see any smoke. Not sure what it would have been that led to this caution coming out more than 70 laps into this race. And it appears that it may very well have been potentially the 23 of Daniel Voiles. Looks like Voiles might have made a late dive for pit road. Take a look at this. Either that or gets a bump from behind by Wes McCoy and is turned off the nose of Sarah Fogelman. Then Juan Garcia gets up and into the wall. It was hard to tell from that angle if the 23 maybe lifted just ahead of the 8. Let's take another look. '23 definitely looks like he bails out of the throttle, but I don't know if he gets bumped from behind or just turns down the racetrack and Sarah Fogelman is there. I think the only way we're going to know for absolute certain is if we go to our helicopter cam here. Watch the back bumper of the 23, the front bumper of the 8. Is there contact? Nope, no contact. Daniel Voiles was making a late move onto pit road there and was doing it from the outside line. I don't know if he had a tire going down, but obviously he felt something was wrong and felt he had to get to pit road. And unfortunately for him, there was a car that was inside, and Sarah Fogelman spins him around, and that brings out the yellow flag. So now that sets us up for our first restart of the evening. And here you go. Lap cars will move to the inside. Lead lap cars to the outside. Eli Bright, did he come to pit road? Scoring says he did not. Eli Bright with a strategy call here, electing track position over tires. This is going to be interesting. Skylar Taylor now going to line up in second with the fresh rubber. Kat Batson did not win the battle off pit road, so she'll line up in third. Then Aubrey Powell, Jackson Haywood, your top 5. Followed by Autumn Brooks, Juan Garcia, David Dixon, Cole Coybe now up to 9th. And Jordan Anderson is going to complete your top 10. We're going to have a total of 20 cars on the lead lap when we go back green. 29 drivers are currently running. We do have one driver out of the race. We should document Mike Tellier. We saw him on pit lane not that long ago. He came down pit road. They have pushed him back behind the wall. A mechanical failure for the driver out of Bishop Family Racing. So tough break there for Mike Tellier. Struggling season for him continues. A driver 19th in points with only one top 5, one top 10 so far on the season. But this strategy call for track position by Eli Bright, how will it pan out as we get ready to go back green here at Darlington? Older tires on that Sunny D Supra. And all those cars there on the bottom of the racetrack going to have the advantage. The lap machines Only one of them was able to take advantage, though. Michael Turner, Bright, and Taylor. They'll get around Majoric. Now Majoric boxes in Cat Batson. Now it's a mano-a-mano at the front. Eli Bright with the track position and the clean air. Skylar Taylor with the fresher tires. Eli Bright can do a lot of mirror driving here. Try and take away the preferred line for Skylar Taylor. Not sure where to look. I want to be looking back around that third position as well because the rest of the podium on back are boxed in with the lap cars. Looks like maybe Autumn Brooks has now moved into third, getting around Cat Batson with the aid of the lap machines. Darlington now to the inside of Skylar Taylor. That'll take some pressure off of Eli Bright for the time being. And here come all the rest of the lap machines. They want to get back on the lead lap if they can. A few of them are eligible. Voiles in the 23. Dave Smith in the 15 right there in this shot. Sarah Fogelman as well, a couple of cars back. And now Eli Bright. That strategy call working in his favor. He's got lap machines between himself and Skylar Taylor. Autumn Brooks has moved up into the third position. Trying to utilize the lap traffic to get up to second place. Cat Batson now in the fourth spot. Aubrey Powell, Juan Garcia side by side for fifth. Jackson Haywood right there as well. Jordan Anderson, Nick Gunther in this conversation. This is fifth place back to around 9th, 10th position. Throw a blanket over all of them. It's back up towards the front. Skylar Taylor trapped behind Craig Batson. Now Dave Smith will get to his inside. Eli Bright's been kicked up to the outside line as well. And look out for the 60 of Autumn Brooks, who has the inside line, at least for the time being. Eli Bright's going to be able to clear Craig Batson, at least for the moment, but Skylar Taylor, he is falling back, and he is falling back quick. Here's the battle for second between a couple of Mazdas. Brooks looking to get to the left rear quarter panel. Following the tire tracks of the lap machine of Daniel Voiles. Aubrey Powell, hard hit back there into the outside wall. And she's going to lose fourth place to Juan Garcia because of that. Cat Batson now entering into this conversation. Three-way battle for the runner-up spot. All this taking place about 7 lap cars away from the race leader Eli Bright. Taylor going to hang on to second. Brooks slots into third. Batson rides in fourth. Their hope is that Eli Bright is going to get shuffled out. Now bear in mind, Eli Bright is still going to have to make a pit stop, but we have now entered into the window where he can make it from any point from here to the end of the race, and he can make it to the conclusion. We also know that Taylor, Brooks, all those drivers that pitted under the caution, they're still going to have to pit with less than 10 to go. So this call by Eli Bright could pan out. He'll have the advantage of the undercut as well. The one thing that he will have a disadvantage on is fuel. If drivers that pit near the end of this race elect to just go maybe with right side tires and 1 can of fuel, they could do that to gain track position. Eli Bright trying to keep these lap cars behind him. If they get to his inside and start freight training him though, then that brings Taylor, Brooks, Batson back into the conversation. Let's see if anybody else has been able to close up on this group of lead lap cars. Yep, Juan Garcia, Aubrey Powell have been able to do so as well. So your top 6 are all up here in this lead group. Autumn Brooks has made the pass around Skylar Taylor to move into second. But still all these slower lap cars, well not necessarily slower, but lap cars in between herself and the race leader Eli Bright. She'll look to the inside of Daniel Voiles going into 3. Voiles is going to throw the block down there though. Taylor going to take the outside line. Might get the run on the straightaway here. They'll be side by side. Going into turn 1, this is where Autumn should get the advantage going into the corner. That might cost Skylar Taylor not only second, but more. There goes third to Kat Batson, or does it? Taylor back to the throttle, holds court on the back straightaway. Meanwhile, some battling up here between the lap machines. There are a couple of drivers, I think, that are battling for position. Dave Smith, Sarah Fogelman, Daniel Voiles are all on the same lap. That's 21st through 23rd. I believe everybody else, though, is on a different lap of the other lap machines. Dave Smith's going to get to the inside of Eli Bright. That puts him back on the lead lap. Wes McCoy, who is several laps down, he'll get by. Here comes Sarah Fogelman, now to the back bumper of her teammate. Sarah tried to get back in the lead lap as well. She is only one lap down. But what was about 6-7 cars in between Eli Bright in second place is now 2 cars. The 11 and the 91. Then it's the 60 of Autumn Brooks, the 29 of Skylar Taylor. Things are going to get really interesting here in the closing stages of this one. That caution flag changed the entire landscape of this race. Craig Batson now to the inside of Sarah Fogelman. That's going to help Autumn Brooks close up another car to the back of Eli Bright. 3-car battle up here in this lead group. Then a little ways back to 4th, 5th, and 6th. Garcia, Powell, and Batson. Skylar Taylor now looking to the inside of Sarah Fogelman, trying to get up there to Autumn Brooks. We went back green, I believe it was on lap 74. So Eli Bright, expect to see him on pit road, I would have to think, within the next 10 laps for his final pit stop of the night. And if you're Eli Bright, you do not want to see a yellow flag now. Well, at least not after you make the pit stop. If a caution comes out right now, I think everybody's back on pit road again. And Eli Bright could maintain the race lead. But if he makes the pit stop, that's the point. He doesn't want to see another yellow flag for the rest of the night. Otherwise, that will completely hurt his strategy. What a wild one this has been here this afternoon. And it's not over yet. And we're not done with Darlington either. Tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on NNSCRA TV. It's the Cup Series drivers for the historic battle at one of our crown jewel races. We've seen a number of drivers get their first career wins in the Cup Series at this venue. Could the same be said tomorrow afternoon? We'll have to wait and see as battle is on, second place on back. Autumn Brooks has been kicked up to the outside line. Now she's going to hang on to the spot. Skylar Taylor under fire from Juan Garcia for third. Aubrey Powell right there. Kat Batson as well. Jordan Anderson's into this conversation. There's Eric Sadler in his Lights debut. Both the Southern Cross Racing cars are up here, and Cam Wright Jr., David Dixon, along with Nick Gunther and Jackson Haywood. You got about 12 drivers still with a shot at this win, depending on how circumstances play out in the final 20 or so laps of this race. And I saw a couple of bumpers being used right there in this group as well. We may not be done with cautions here tonight. Only one yellow flag so far this evening. As Eli Bright has done a masterful job after getting the track position and that clean air on the strategy call of keeping everybody in his rearview mirror, whether they be lead lap cars or lap machines. A couple have been able to squeak on by, but not a whole lot. And the thing that he's also been able to do is make sure he doesn't have traffic in front of him. Anyone that has gotten by him, they've been able to drive away. And that has allowed him to be able to still have clean air to the nose. But I could definitely start to see that tire disadvantage coming into play. He has been much slower than the drivers behind him through the center of the corner, but he's been able to pin it down to the inside. They're not able to get a run to be able to get by him. Autumn Brooks now looking low on Sarah Fogelman. This is to close it up and only have one car to beat. Fogelman going to try and battle back on the top, but Brooks edges ahead, half a car length. Ooh, had to bail out of the throttle right there on that inside line. Car got tight. That checks up everybody on the inside, including Skylar Taylor. That's the disadvantage of dirty air. A tight car is going to be even tighter when you've got somebody in front of you. But again, now right on the bumper of Sarah Fogelman. We know Eli Bright's going to have to come to pit road sooner than everybody else. But if you're Autumn Brooks, if you're Skylar Taylor, do you maybe try to come to pit road the same lap as Eli Bright? Or do you extend it a little bit further? Drivers in this pack, you see them pumping the brakes, the front end of the car going down into the racing surface. Splitters bouncing, side skirts scraping. Skylar Taylor, you saw him get to the inside of Autumn Brooks. Can he clear her for second? Brooks battles back on the top, still there to the right rear quarter panel. Great battle for the runner-up spot down the back straightaway. And here comes Eli Bright to pit road. Fortunate for him, he had a teammate behind. I'm sure there was communication that he was coming in. Sarah Fogelman gave him the space. Final pit stop of the night for Eli Bright. Now he wants this thing to go green to the conclusion, hoping that this might cycle him back to the front in the closing stages for the win. That turns the race lead over now to Skylar Taylor in the 29. That check up there with the 20 coming to pit road really changed up the landscape of the top five because Brooks got kicked to the top side. Now here comes Cam Wright Jr. moving into third. Jordan Anderson will move to fourth. David Dixon now looking to crack the top five, as Autumn Brooks is going backwards. Brooks may have also used up a lot of her stuff right there trying to get around Sarah Fogelman. But now it's a question of when do these drivers come to pit lane? They're going to have to pit somewhere in the next 10 laps. Somewhere in the window of 10 laps to go. How far do they go? Aubrey Powell's going to have the bonus point for most laps led here this evening. 45 circuits out in front. Nobody's going to be able to eclipse that with the number of laps remaining. Skylar Taylor just led his 24th lap of the night, and before pitting, Eli Bright had led 20 laps. Those are the only drivers that have led double-digit laps so far this evening. For Taylor, for Powell, Cam Wright Jr., Jordan Anderson, these are drivers that are looking to lock themselves into the playoffs with a second win on the season. Eli Bright, who we're still keeping track of here, if this pit stop cycle works in his favor, looking for his first, which could lock himself up a spot in the playoffs, as he's been pretty consistent at the start of the season. Still looking for his first top five, but 5 top 10s in the first 10 races, 10th in overall points. It would certainly at least propel him up into the top 7 in the standings to put him in a playoff position on points. Michael Turner coming off of pit road in the 0-2. And you can see right there, there's the advantage of fresh tires. That holds up Sarah Fogelman and allows Cam Wright Jr. to try and get to the inside of the lap car. More drivers on pit road, Majorek and Craig Batson. Let's find the 20. 20 is back in traffic right now. This is not where Eli Bright wanted to cycle around to, because this takes away his advantage of the fresh tires. Kat Batson has shifted all the way back now to 14th, and she was up there in the top 5. Traffic did not work out in her favor. And look at this. Watch this advantage of fresh tires to old tires. On the outside of Kyle Langland is Eli Bright. Watch him get back to the throttle there. Swing around off of turn number 2. And he will try and get to the front of this pack if he can, and then try to set down lap times. But this is advantage to Skylar Taylor and company with the 20 in traffic, at least for the moment. Skylar Taylor's got clean racetrack, even though he is at a tire disadvantage to Eli Bright. He does have clean air to the nose and is not battling with anybody. Top 3 have all gone to victory lane this season. 4 of the top 5 are former winners on the season. Autumn Brooks in 4th, looking for her first win of her career. Eric Sadler still back there in 6th. Could he have a shot and be the first driver this season to pick up both a Lite and a Cup Series victory? After he picked up a Cup Series win, I believe it was back at, well, now I don't recall where it was. North Wilkesboro, that's where it was. Keeping an eye on the race leader, Skylar Taylor. This team's been very good on pit road as well. Let's make note of that. They got the number 2 pit stall. We're around the window where they're going to have to pit now. Everybody is still going to have to come to pit road. They've been able to make it about 30 laps on fuel, or at least 30 laps on a run. About 3 laps away from when they would be 30 laps into this run. Anderson having to back off a little bit there through the center of 3 and 4 as he was trying to take now 2nd place away from Cam Wright Jr. Autumn Brooks will close up on the battle for 3rd place now. That's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right there on your screen. Let's find the 20 real quick. Eli Bright's been able to make a couple of passes. Now he'll look to the inside of Nathan Fogler. Kyle Langland just up ahead of him as well, and then it should be some fairly clear racetrack after that. Well, not really. A couple more cars. Ooh, Langland up and into the wall, so that's going to be an easy pass for Eli Bright. Brody Kupski's coming in, so we might have some of our leaders coming in as well. Roberta Crown Jr. coming in. There's David Dixon coming in pit road from what was the 5th position. None of our other front runners, though. David Dixon with the call there to see if this might help him get back into the conversation. And here comes Skylar Taylor. Lap car of Sarah Fogelman coming in as well. Cam Wright Jr. will stay out an extra lap, so too will Autumn Brooks. So that says to me Anderson's coming in. Yep, there's the 89. Now is the gamesmanship of where will I cycle around to, because the optimal idea here is to come out of pit road with no traffic in front of you. That could be the difference maker into who's cycling out to the race lead and who is not. Skylar Taylor felt coming that time was the call. Cam Wright Jr. felt staying out the extra lap was the call. And he's coming in this time. Autumn Brooks as well. We have not mentioned the name Ralph Mason at all tonight. He cycled up to 3rd. Now he's coming into pit road. Been a very quiet evening for the 66, but he might be looking to snipe a top 10 tonight. There's the 20 of Eli Bright. We're going to keep our camera on him, see where he cycles around to. He should cycle to the race lead, but he's got a lot of traffic to deal with right now. Made the call to stay out under our only caution of the evening. Was able to lead 20 laps. Knew everybody was going to have to come to pit road. He is going to be at a disadvantage as far as tires. He is at a disadvantage right now in terms of being in traffic. And I believe Kat Batson in the 39 behind him has also been to pit road. And I'm being told that is the case. This could be the battle for the win right here between the 20 and the 39. So Eli Bright is not out of the woods yet. Last time by was cycled up to 9th place. We'll see if he continues to climb up the leaderboard or not. This should be the battle for the win, if it indeed cycles around the way that we are expecting it to. Unless they lost too much ground. Let's see about this time by. Does he jump up on the leaderboard from 9th? Now up to 7th. I don't think Eli Bright actually might have cycled out to the race lead. They're scoring some other drivers ahead of him. Roberto Crown Jr. is now up to 6th. Eric Sadler is 5th. Anderson 4th. Taylor is 3rd. Brooks is 2nd. And Cam Wright Jr. is now the race leader. They may have gone with right side tires. A lot of these front runners might have just taken 2 and gotten enough fuel to go to the end. Cam Wright Jr. is the leader with 5 laps to go at Darlington. He got his first win at another historic racetrack, North Wilkesboro Speedway. He comes into this thing with the most top 5s and tied for the most top 10s. He's got that victory. He's the points leader. And he is looking to become the first repeat winner on the season. The closing stages of this race have been all about strategy. Could this be the strategy that pays off for Cam Wright Jr.? Autumn Brooks right now in 2nd place trying to close up the gap. Dave Smith is pulled away. If Dave Smith can get up there and maybe interfere with the 95, Brooks could have a shot at this thing. She's got her hands full with Daniel Voiles. Skylar Taylor just behind in the 3rd spot. Sarah Fogelman pulling away from Cam Wright Jr. So that's a car he won't have to worry about. But the 15 further back could be a problem if he gets up there. Brooks trying to stay in touch with Dave Smith. And Cam Wright Jr. hoping that these laps tick away very, very quickly. Off of turn 4, he will see 3 laps to go at Darlington. Voiles has now gotten around Autumn Brooks. We may have a battle for 2nd in the closing stage between a couple of Mazda drivers. An incredible first season for Cam Wright Jr. David Dixon, who's been a mainstay driver here in the Lite Series, a former multi-time winner last season, a former winner this season, elected to go into the team ownership business. He brought on a 2nd car. He put Cam Wright Jr. behind the wheel, and it has paid off dividends in the first half of this regular season. This time by 2 laps to go from Darlington. Long ways back to his nearest competitor in Autumn Brooks, who still has traffic to deal with. The sponsor on the car is Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Cam Wright Jr., if you wanted to describe him, you could also say he is flamin' hot. He wants to win the regular season championship, but most importantly, he wants to get into the playoffs. He is going to be, this time by, 1 lap away from his first multi-time season. White flag in the air, 1 more time around. Brooks has been able to gap Skylar Taylor. Taylor in firm control of 3rd. Great battle going on for 4th between Eric Sadler and Jordan Anderson. But it's all taking place over a 2.5 seconds behind Cam Wright Jr. What a strategy call. Had to have been a 2-tire pit stop. Got Cam Wright Jr. to the front, to clean air, and to the victory. 2-time winner will be Cam Wright Jr. as he will pick up the victory here this afternoon at the Darlington Raceway. Brooks will get 2nd, Taylor 3rd, Sadler 4th, and Eli Bright, despite the strategy not getting him the win, he will battle back up into the top 5 to finish in 5th place. And you want to talk about the comeback of the race? Roberto Crown Jr. qualified out back. He was a lap down after the first cycle of pit stops. He's going to finish 7th here tonight. But Cam Wright Jr. is going to continue to open up the points gap for sure. He may have just right there secured himself a spot in this season's playoffs. And he is undoubtedly right now, if we were to seed these drivers in terms of the odds of winning the championship, he'd have to be the undeniable 1 seed. An incredible first half of the regular season for the rookie out of Southern Cross Racing. Can he keep this up after the All-Star break in the second half of the regular season? Pushing towards the playoffs, we'll have to wait and see. But here is a look at tonight's finishing results and a lot of different stories inside of that top 10. Cam Wright Jr. with the win. Autumn Brooks with their best career finish will bring it home in second. Skylar Taylor, after leading 31 laps tonight, will complete the podium. How about first start in the Lite Series for Eric Sadler, going to bring it home in 4th place, and Eli Bright. Thought that strategy might work out in his favor. It was a gutsy call, but it definitely was a net gain because he finished in the 5th position after leading 20 laps here tonight. Kat Batson also was a little off sequence in terms of strategy. We didn't catch that, but she was able to finish in 6th because of it. Roberto Crown Jr., we already just documented. He qualified next to last. He was a lap down the early stages. He finishes this race somehow on the lead lap in 7th place. Jordan Anderson, after his victory last time out, he'll bring it home with the top 10 in 8th. Juan Garcia, also in the top 10 all night, gets 9th, and 10th place for Brody Kupski. Cole Koibe's going to finish in 11th. We didn't talk about him hardly at all tonight. Great run for him. Jackson Haywood kind of faded late. He'll finish, though, in 12th. Ralph Mason and Nathan Stapleton, great runs for them in 13th and 14th. Nick Gunther also kind of faded late to finish 15th. Nathan Fogler, 16th. Also a good comeback for Kyle Langland. He was towards the back of the pack beginning stages of this race. He'll finish up in the 17th spot, a far cry further than where he was most of the event. Colin Grace and Aubrey Powell, they looked like they had race-winning race cars. They're going to fall back to 18th and 19th, and Sarah Fogelman was the last driver to finish on the lead lap tonight in the 20th position. Some drivers that really needed some good runs tonight were running well in points. They'll be looking to rebound when we get to Charlotte. You look at David Dixon finishing back in 25th place. Chris Dollerton, last car to finish, 7 laps down in 29th. He had just made his way into the top 7. He's more than likely going to fall out of the top 7. And the only driver that didn't reach the conclusion, Mike Tellier, with a mechanical failure, going to finish out the field in 30th position. But what a race of strategy here this afternoon from Darlington, and Cam Wright Jr. makes the call that gets him his 2nd win of what's already been an incredible season here in the Duracell Ultra Lite Series. Cannot wait for what we're going to see in tomorrow afternoon's Cup Series race here from Darlington. Hope you guys will join us as well. But if you enjoyed this afternoon's race here, be sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to Kabar the Crew today. We showed you your full figure results, and you're now looking at the fallout of this via your point standings heading into the second half of the regular season. The stage has been set. Drivers have kind of given themselves a bit of a starting point. Now the real work begins, as we'll see them in a few weeks' time at Charlotte as they begin their push towards the playoffs. But until then, thank you all for tuning into tonight's race, and we will see you guys next time as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.